Alright guys, I'm going to post this up as a kind of addendum follow-up to the primer on rotational grazing video that came out as a live stream. So if you are on the strongrootsresources YouTube channel and you were looking for that video, that is going to be under the live tab. This one will just kind of be uploaded. And we were talking about kind of just the 101 on rotational grazing and understanding the basics of pasture management, rule of thirds, things like that. So right now I am taking down paddock fence from the last paddock that the sheep were in. And I thought this was as good a time as any to kind of show you guys, when you do a good job of trying to follow the rule of thirds, like I'm doing my best and getting a little better at it all the time. If you follow that rule, this is kind of what you're going to wind up with. Again, we are in East Tennessee, mixed forage. I do not have seeded pastures. I have weeds that the sheep eat mixed in with some tall fescue and some other grasses. So I'm going to flip the camera around and just kind of browse around and be like a sheep for a minute and kind of show you guys what a paddock can look like when I've moved the sheep at a pretty ideal time. So here, all right. As you can see, they did not hit too many of these seed heads from this, I believe this is a tall fescue grass. It's actually not very nutritious for them. It's not ideal, and if they eat too much of it, or if that's all they have to eat, they can have a kind of a heat stress response when we get real hot here. They did, however, hit the clover pretty good. I'm finding a lot of the wild violet nipped off. Plantain has been nipped off, so I kind of picked a site where they clearly didn't go too heavy on stuff, but in other areas I can tell what they ate. It seems that they don't like this. I am almost certain this is nut sedge. This does not get very tall. It has a very distinctive seed head that's not quite ready yet. It's actually a wild edible tuber, but they don't seem to care for it. When we get down here under these cedars, they definitely cleaned up the poison ivy, but they did not eat the Virginia creeper, which is the 5-leaf. That would be this right here. So they didn't eat the Virginia creeper, so that's good to know. This is a pasture weed called Crown's Beard, and I've known nothing will really eat this. Goats won't even really mess with this too much, is my understanding. So this is going to be one of those things that I want to mow or weed eat back. I want to knock this back and try to mitigate its opportunity to disperse more seeds, so that over time I can have less of this and more of what they will eat. Let's look around another minute or more here. So they had a blend of ivy. There's a bunch of this winter creeper ivy. That's this stuff right here. They hit that pretty good. They will especially hit that in the wintertime. It is one of the things I can have them forage in the wintertime. It looks like thistle is not desirable. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to eat that either. They do nip off some of the privet. It just kind of depends. They'll nip off a little bit. This is bush. Actually, that's more poison ivy. Holy cow, that's big. That was just out of their reach. Otherwise, they would have eaten that. This is bush honeysuckle. This is one of those things that they don't really want it, but they will eat it if they're forced to. But we don't want to force animals to eat things that they don't want. This is all about that balance. There's a bunch of nipped off ivy in here. This was covered in poison ivy, so I'm very happy that they defoliated what they could reach. All this light yellow stuff, I know the sun's going down, but this light yellow stuff, this is all nut sedge. So now I know it's not something that they really want, and I'm going to get in here and just mow all this as a way of trying to get ahead of it. It's not going to fix it in one season. This is a process. It takes time, but I'm going to kind of get my back to sort of the corner so I can kind of show you guys. This was what they were in. I think this is about 1/4 of an acre. I don't really figure out how many linear feet I fence at a time. It just depends. But they were in here. I went back and checked. They were in here for 5 days, and I feel like I moved them in time. I could have left them in here for another day or so, but going off their behavior, they were starting to get a little bit restless. They wanted fresh food, and I've got fresh food. I've got plenty of pasture, so we moved. So don't think that everything has to be nipped down to ground level and they're like, okay, now it's grazed, now it's done, now we can move. It is okay if it looks like this, but you do have to kind of pick up some of the slack with a little bit of machine work or weed eating or whatever it takes. Knock these seed heads down. Don't buzz the ground, keep it high, but just reset that plant. And with time and a little bit of work, your pastures will get better. They will get there. I'm in the middle, not even in the middle, I'm in the very early stages of observing that. So that's kind of what I got. You guys know how to find me, strongrootsresources@gmail.com if I can help you with your questions. And y'all have a great weekend.